Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello everyone, hope you're having a great weekend. Welcome to another episode of Colney Talk Podcast, the bite-sized show. I'm your host, Alex. First-time guest, happy to have you here. And to my returning listeners, really glad you're joining me. On this bite-sized show, I talk a bit about the Arsenal game and then pick out my top 3 Arsenal players who I think were great in the game, and one player I consider the odd one who just had a poor game or not good enough, who just needs to be called out. Arsenal took care of business against Bournemouth, but it was with a mixed bag of excitement, admiration, disbelief, and a bit of unsettled nerves. And that's just describing me in this game. That was much of the emotions that we saw throughout, enjoying, considering, thinking. In a game that somewhat wouldn't bring all of that emotion, it definitely came in full forces. However, it was an absolute wonder of a game by the Arsenal men. An unchanged squad from last game, no surprise there. But it's anyone's guess who would be left out for Timber to feature on the bench. So we'll see. Arsenal started to pull Bournemouth's defending around the box to make room for free-flowing ball play in their passes. I didn't know this was a great start for a lot of Arsenal action in the game. Playing at home in front of the crowd with a lot of swagger and how they wanted to dominate this game. It was high-tempo play for Arsenal on tap. First fast break opened up our chances tally. I mean, this game, pretty sure we broke some records here. And it just started. The first chance led to a corner. From that, shots, and more shots from Arsenal. They found spaces to run. They created lanes for Saka and Trossard to step in for a shot. But we're consistently blocked. Consistently. And this is something that you can recall of how we played Villa and they were just absorbing all the shots. But I didn't think it would be a surprise for the game to look in a one-way traffic kind of situation because we're playing Bournemouth. No disrespect to them, but there was quite a lot of expectation of how this game was looking and how much we had flying on our backs and a lot of the expectations. But my goodness, I couldn't help but applaud the sharpness and the plays that Arsenal generated in this game. They were really on it. Havertz had a lovely pass in the box to Ben White to the byline to Trossard for a chance that was blocked. And you're going to hear me say the shots quite a lot because they were connecting but getting straight into the net. They were getting cleared off. And don't expect Bournemouth to just roll over or something. They defended. That was much of their game in the first half. And that's all they had to do. First drama on the other part of the game was a very dangerous foul on Saka. And absolutely nothing was done. I mean, more on this later, at least from what I'm going to say. Havertz, he was possessed in this game, finding his own shots on goal, creating runs that we know him to do, but taking it up one level. Arsenal attackers were challenged to get on the score sheet as soon as possible. Not to mention the way they dictated the game so far. It was a natural thing to do, and they really wanted to deliver. They played their heart out, and in attack, they were really very intent on making that happen. Very nice touch from the Arsenal family and the crowd to honor the 14-year-old Daniel who just lost his life. It's such a sad thing, and rest in peace. With that in mind, Saka had a through ball to pull it back for connection at the end of it. Again, as you expect, shot blocked. But Bournemouth were on task, defending like hell. With the amount of shots they had in the box, that's all they had to deal with, and they did that to their most strength. First worry moment for me, though, was Big Gabby losing the ball at the edge of our box for Solanke to drive in, but thankfully, Saliba was there to really clean up his mess, and this is what attack team defending really would show up for. But I kind of was surprised that Solanke didn't take a shot from that, just driving just a little bit before letting something off. But it was a very worrisome moment, but thankfully we were there to really close that down and clear it out. Big credit to Saliba to step in and just calmly nullify that threat there because he easily would have scored. Then as the game went on, the unthinkable happened. I had to look at it again one more time. Was that Saliba in Bournemouth's box showing his striker skills along with a shot? Okay, then. I mean, and right after that, the rebound shot was there for Trossard to hit, but it was really high off the bar. So this was an amazing game to imagine the players put out so much of a show, stopping performances, not just in their roles, but in different ways to contribute to make something happen as far as scoring a goal, but putting a lot of the pressure on Bournemouth and trying to score. Arsenal's goal scoring chances were cranking up. Saka's dribble shot led to another corner, and from that, Tommy had a free header getting to the net, but was just a bit off. So again, that momentum was still on. We were knocking, getting closer and closer and trying to score, but all this had this feeling of we should have scored by now. Why haven't we scored? We should have put that away, but it's not as easy as we assume. But everything with the quality that we were putting out and the way we were playing, that's really all that we were calling for. And the amount of pressure and control we had in this game, just about every Arsenal player had a shot or a touch before letting one off. Odegaard and Havertz were tearing up the pitch with spaces for runs. It was unfair. I mean, it really was unfair, but that's who we're playing. That's the expectations. That's the standard we have, and that's all we came to enjoy. Partey on his own had his own shot that was blocked for a corner. This was as we kept cranking up and mounting a lot to break through and make something happen. And hard to imagine all the excellent ball combinations that had been generated, and it felt like another idea or wrinkle was needed to make that scoring stand out or really make it happen. We tried to make it as much as we could, still 0-0. And with that time, it gave Bournemouth a chance on the ball to build, grow into the game a little bit, but nothing in the end. Arsenal doing their solid defending and driving them back into their own half. Saturation of passes in the box at this point, like you've kind of heard me talk about, there was nothing needed but for Arsenal players to nail the final action on the ball in the net. That's it. The following best chance from that was Odegaard's cross, which Havertz headed perfectly for Rice, whose shot was slightly off the post. Oh, that would have been the first goal, and that would have thunderously made everything just happen altogether. But I mean, how did he not score there? That was the question following that. But it was close. It was close. So definitely knew something was coming. 40 minutes gone, still 0-0. No cause for alarm, at least for me. But seeing how things were, it's just how it can easily turn into conceding a goal, which we know we can easily climb back and claim, control of the game. Bournemouth were doing the job, defending, trying to play their game. But in this first half, we gave them nothing as far as a chance, just a little bit here and there. Then we got our first goal. And if it was from a penalty, and who else but Kai Havertz running to the box, running through and making something happen. And then following that was a simple finish of a shot from Saka to put it away. But there was a lot of pressure on him. Like, can you imagine how much we had tried to score, make something happen? And this was a point where we had that open chance from a penalty, and now a lot was riding on Saka's shoulders. And as you expect the style boy to do, he showed up, did it perfectly well. We went right into business. So now 1-0 on, and we knew we had something to build from. The remaining minutes didn't create much, and that was it for the first half. We had done the job, getting that score 1-0 into the half, so we can build from there. Second half, Bournemouth tried to get into the game with a bit more intensity, but Arsenal didn't just sit back. They had to fight. So the game changed quite a little bit with a bit more energy we saw from Bournemouth, the way they drove forward, their fast breaks, the way they tried to get on the ball. Rice, on his usual ball dispossession move, stole the ball for Havertz to square for Saka, but there wasn't enough power on his shot to make it 2-0 because that was another chance. And this wasn't so much about blocking chance, but one that he could have put it away. That was a disappointing chance that we missed. Still 1-0, Havertz with a bit of space at the top of the box, had another shot blocked from a quick turn. I think this was from a way of building the momentum and getting some more of that goal threat coming in, as we didn't do successfully in the first half. So now I think it was more about executing and having better clinical finishes. We hadn't gotten there yet, but then In our half, we had to deal with a little bit of pressure where the next series of plays led to a huge Raya save. Thomas Partey was dispossessed in a dangerous area, which was very suitable for Bournemouth, seeing how they're very good in the quick counter attack and they had the youth to really drive with their pace, giving them a good chance to score. But we have our man, Mr. Raya, to just deal with it, and the defendant kind of made it a little bit more compact. So that was clearly a good Raya save. Now the game was open. Odegaard found Havertz darting forward, pulling away the defender to create a lot of space, acres of space in the box, which he passed the ball on for Saka for a tap in, but it was tightly defended. That could have been another goal for sure, but credit on both sides, all efforts all around as the game just went on. Bournemouth had another good run, putting Arsenal under pressure while they were just trying to get back into the game with this 1-0 lead with a couple of more shots of their own. But, it wasn't as threatening with the few chances they had earlier. But definitely they were in the game trying to gain as much, control of possession with the ball and build something the way they wanted. All that being said, an Arsenal second goal was surely needed to settle the nerves, handle the game better, and put a little bit more distance. And a couple more shots from Arsenal looked like they needed to play a bit more calmer, keep the game away from our half and within the middle of the park, where any easy dispossession from our side would keep us off balance, which it did slightly. And we just didn't want to make that a routine or give a reason to get Bournemouth to get in the game. Following that, it didn't help that we considered a free kick right at the edge of our box. So it was more nerves. I'm sure so many others were feeling the same way because we needed that second goal ASAP. When we managed to get out of Bournemouth's press, we played through it into the box with a pass at this time from Declan Rice in the 6-yard box, but there wasn't anyone at the other end to connect to the ball. And that was another moment of, this is still 1-0. How come we haven't put this away much earlier, much sooner? This 1-0 lead surely gave Bournemouth courage to get forward on the ball, to create a chance, create something, and really started unsettling Arsenal players, but it didn't show in the way they were playing because they believed that something was definitely going to happen. And it was for that second goal to come. So we started building again with high resistance against Bournemouth's press. It looked like a broken build play from Arsenal inside the box, but Declan Rice was solid, pouncing on the loose ball to flick it for Trossard. And this time he nailed the final action. Boom, 2-0. Now we had something going. We had gotten that distance and we can play comfortably. Well, that followed with a slight discomfort where Bournemouth scored a goal, but that was ruled off. VAR and ref stepped up this time. I wouldn't complain since they didn't make the right call earlier on Saka's foul early in the game, and now making this better call, I'll call it balanced out because it's just how some of these games happens and the situations that we get to deal with. That had to wake Arsenal up and change plans to neutralize the threats coming from Bournemouth. The number of attacking plays we had displayed was all on the way to score, but just hadn't. Odegaard had his golden chance to make it 3, but was just side netted. Granted, it was a tight angle. I think we definitely made a record of the amount of shot attempts in a game. We definitely did that for sure. First subs, Martinelli coming in for Trossard, and straight away he had an open field with a ball running down the box that we've seen Martinelli do a few times, but he looked like someone that lacked confidence to shoot or much less score. And that was very unfortunate. I mean, there's just so much to really talk about Martinelli, but I would keep it away from this game and not make a moment out of it. And then Jesus coming in for Saka. Following that, we were robbed of a beautiful moment from a set piece where Big Gabby fired off a rocket into the net, but was ruled offside. What a worldie. What a shot. I don't think he thought that was going in, but woo, what a wonderful shot. Good goal. That was called out, but it was definitely something. Now, getting into the final minutes plus extra time, still 2-0. Looked as if Bournemouth had lost their steam a little bit from earlier, but then had a free kick and a corner from that to see if they can grow back in, but we kind of starved them off and managed it. And in the final minutes of the game, two individual brilliance led to the third goal. First, Jesus. He carried the ball to the edge of Bournemouth's box and then had this beautiful no-look pass for Declan Rice, who sneaked into the box to power his shot for a goal. It was amazing. Brilliant heads-up play, the way Jesus handled the ball and knew that and saw Declan Rice running and calling for the ball. So these were two heads-up play by these guys, and they just did it to perfection. And that was it. That was the game. 3-0, 3 points, clean sheet. And we got the Golden Glove for sure now. That was amazing. I mean, beautiful all around. This game was a joy to watch. I enjoyed it, especially towards the end of this game, seeing how we had gotten that second goal and put a little bit more distance. And that clean sheet, too, meant a lot for the players, especially on the defenders. We had all-around elements of a good game. Thankfully, we had the goals to complement it because it was not easy earlier with a little bit of discomfort and, grumbling, at least as I watched it. But we came in and we just took care of business. And that was it. Business was handled, got it over the line, and that was for sure the only thing that mattered. Jumping into my top 3 Arsenal performers. First player, Declan Rice. Incredible performance from the start. In this game, I think he was outstanding in attack, more so, and moving with instincts and awareness. And defensively, I mean, he was on it, jumping in the right time, knowing the right moment when to pounce, and just nick the ball to keep the attack recycled and maintaining the right flow. He was top class, absolute top class. Second player, Kai Havertz. This was one of his best attacking performances, especially with the level of intensity, with his shooting, driving, and passing to the best available Arsenal player around him. He played as the man up front, and he was superb. This was a different level of Havertz that we are going to see more, but the encouragement is not much of a surprise, but so much of, wow, he definitely has it in his game, and he showed out without being shy in any way, taking the shot without thinking, and playing like the man that he receives the ball, then he fires off a shot. So he did that very well. Third and final player, Odegaard. Another elite performance from the captain. He linked up with Havertz really well, trying to get us an early lead in the game. While that was ongoing, he was making plays to give Trossard and Saka space to cause some more damage, and he was doing it really well. And then when he came to nullifying the press from Bournemouth when they were trying to just trap us in our own half, he came in to become the outlet to keep our ball flowing momentum going so easily. That smooth captain, man, really, really good. Another brilliant performance for him, and that's Mr. Consistent for real, Mr. Consistent, and that's the captain. Great work from him. Minus a few mistakes that thankfully didn't cost us. No odd one today. They played for each other, and that's just the standard. That's what mattered, and they made sure it showed out well, and that's it. 2 more games to go. More focus needed as the pressure mounts in every turn, and that's all we're going to do. Stay on the backs and push them all through to the final line, and, that just makes us be in the best position until the end. Good game for Arsenal and another great atmosphere at the Emirates. Really applaud the team and the community for representing one of the fallen fans. And with that, I'll leave you here for now. Talk to you all soon. Take care.